Imagine you are standing in a tribe 50,000 years ago. Everyone around you is watching. If they respect you, you eat first. You get protection, you get a mate, your children survive. If they don't, you're ignored, pushed lower, left out, and if you fall far enough, you die. That world is gone. But your brain still thinks you're living in it. Right now, status controls more of your life than you realize. The clothes you wear, the money you chase, the people you impress, even the way you speak. Most people think status is just ego, vanity, insecurity. But that's not what it was built for. Status was survival. And for hundreds of thousands of years, your place in the social hierarchy determined almost everything. Let's start at the beginning. For most of human history, humans lived in tribes of roughly 30 to 150 people. Anthropologists call this Dunbar's number, small enough that everyone knew everyone, large enough that rank mattered, and rank always mattered. Among hunter-gatherers, higher status individuals got first access to food, better mating opportunities, more allies, more protection. Lower status individuals had less of everything, less food, less influence, less security. This wasn't unfair, it was biology. In a world where resources were limited, hierarchy organized survival. Even today, you can still see it in primates. Chimpanzees fight for rank constantly. Higher-ranking males eat first, mate more often, receive more grooming. And here's the strange part. When scientists measured their stress hormones, low-ranking chimps showed significantly higher cortisol, more stress, more anxiety, worse health. Status wasn't psychological, it was physical. And humans inherited that system. But humans evolved something even more powerful: reputation. Unlike animals, humans don't just track strength. We track social value. Who contributes, who protects, who leads, who matters. And once reputation entered the equation, status became invisible. It wasn't just about who could fight, it became about who could influence. And that changed everything. In 2003, researchers at the University of California found something disturbing. Social rejection activates the same neural pathways as physical pain. The anterior cingulate cortex, the same region that lights up when your body is injured, your brain literally experiences exclusion as pain. Because for most of history, exclusion was pain. Real pain. If your tribe rejected you 20,000 years ago, you didn't just feel lonely. You died. No fire. No protection. No shared food. No group defense. The modern brain still carries that terror. That's why being ignored hurts. That's why embarrassment feels so intense. That's why disrespect can ruin your entire day. Your nervous system doesn't understand Instagram, it understands tribe. And in tribes, visibility meant safety. This is why status became addictive, because every signal of status triggers ancient reward systems. Money, followers, luxury, attraction, titles, recognition. They're all modern symbols of ancient rank. And your brain reacts to them like they matter for survival. Because once, they did. Dopamine spikes when people admire you, when your post gets likes, when someone praises you, when your social position rises. It's the same reward system that pushed your ancestors to climb the hierarchy, to become harder to ignore. But here's where it gets darker. Status is relative, not absolute. You can be rich and still feel poor, attractive and still feel invisible, successful and still feel beneath someone else. Because the brain doesn't measure what you have, it measures where you stand. This is called social comparison theory. Psychologist Leon Festinger proposed it in 1954. Humans constantly evaluate themselves against others, not because we're insecure, because that's how our species learned rank. And rank meant survival. But modern life broke the system. For most of human history, you compared yourself to maybe 100 people. Now you compare yourself to millions. Every day, every hour, social media turned tribal hierarchy into a global scoreboard. And your ancient brain was never built for that. It sees private jets, perfect bodies, million-dollar homes, and interprets them as higher rank, even if those people aren't real, even if their lives are curated. Your nervous system still reacts. That's why doom scrolling feels compulsive. You're scanning hierarchy, constantly checking where you stand, and losing. But status isn't just external. It shapes identity. Who you think you are often depends on where you think you rank. Higher rank creates confidence. Lower rank creates shame. And shame is ancient. In evolutionary psychology, shame functions as a status defense. It keeps you from risking social exile. It makes you smaller, quieter, safer. Think about that. Even your insecurity has a survival function. But there's one final twist. Humans don't just want status, they worship it. Entire civilizations are built on it. Kings, empires, wealth, fame, titles. Every system we've built is a giant hierarchy machine, and most people spend their whole lives climbing, not because they consciously want to, but because their biology keeps pushing them upward. The strange part is this: no matter how high you climb, it never ends. Because someone is always above you, always richer, always stronger, always more respected. And your brain notices. This is the trap. Status solved survival. But now survival is mostly solved. And the machine keeps running anyway. Your ancestors chased status to stay alive. You chase it for attention, for validation, for symbols. But your brain still thinks the stakes are life and death. And maybe that's why being ignored feels unbearable. Why success feels intoxicating. Why comparison never stops. Because beneath your modern life, beneath the clothes, the phone, the money, and the image, you are still standing in that tribe, still looking around, still asking the same ancient question. Where do I rank? And what happens if I fall?